Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a knitted beanie. So get your goodies together so that way we can sit down and work this hat up. I look forward to seeing yours. Okay, some of the items you will need to make this hat is either a hat size circular needle. If you're using worsted weight, you're going to need a number 7 and some worsted weight yarn. Now the multiples that I give you will be using the worsted weight. If you use anything bulkier or anything lighter, you would have to adjust your numbers for your multiples. The multiples are of 3. So you'll need that, either a short cable like this for working in the round, or you can do magic loop with a longer cable, or you can go DP ends. Now I will probably be using 2 different cables. I will be using a hat size to do the majority of the hat. And then once I get into the decreasing, I probably will switch over to a long cable and do magic loop. That's my general go-to as far as doing decreases. So other than having the proper equipment to work up this hat, whether it be DP ends, magic loop, or we start here and switch over to DP ends or magic loop at that point, completely up to you. You will also need a stitch marker to mark the beginning and end of your round, a darning needle to sew in your ends when we get done, and a pair of scissors for the same. So the first thing you're gonna do is find the end of your yarn. Now I'm just using a scrap ball of yarn. I tend to do that when I'm making hats or something small. I just grab a scrap ball of yarn and work from it. Now this hat will be one of the hats that will be going to K&K Crochet. They have an outreach that is local to me, and it's called Bumblebee Mountain Outreach. If you would like to check them out, they'll be down in the description box. Just pop on over and let them know that Spring sent you. So the first thing you're going to do is start with either your slip knot, however you do it on your very first stitch, whether it's a slip knot like I just made, like this, or if you do a different form, like, show you another way to do it. Some people go like this to begin, or like this to begin. It's just up to you. However you cast on is okay. I'm going to do a long tail cast on, which is a slingshot method. So I've got my yarn held in my hand like this. If you need a slower version, I do go over multiple ways to cast on, and this is one of them. So then I create this slingshot method like this, and I go under, over, and around, and then pull through. Just a quick demonstration as to how I cast on. Long tail. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and long tail cast on a total of 78 stitches. And once I've done that, we'll join in the round, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I kind of cheated here. I already had one started. So I have my 78 stitches cast on, and I'm at the end, and I'm going to begin working in the round. I have a couple ways of doing it. Just going straight to the next stitch and start working in the round is perfectly okay. Let's see here, get my working yarn in the right spot. So once you have your cast on stitches all nice and neat all the way around, we're going to work a 2 by 1 ribbing. And what I mean is we're going to knit 2, purl 1. So knit 1 and 2, and then purl 1. That is the ribbing that we are going to create, a 2 by 1. You're going to go ahead and work that brim to the height that you want. 1 to 2 inches usually is pretty average. If you want it long enough to fold over, you could go 4 to 6 inches. That's entirely up to you as to the height of your brim area. You want enough to cover the ears. That's the general standard rule, is you want to be able to cover the ears with the brim of your hat. So we're going to work a 2 by 1 ribbing for probably 2 inches on my side. Once I have done that, I will come back and we will continue on. So once again, knit 1, 2, and purl 1. And you're just going to repeat that every round until it's to the height that you desire. Okay, so once you have your brim done, mine is at 2 inches at this present moment. The next step is to do the body of the hat before we start the decreases for the crown. So what you're going to do is work the next 2 rows over and over again. It's a 2 rounds, 2 round repeat over and over again until the hat is approximately from the base here, from the start up, approximately a total of 8 inches. Some can go 6 inches, some can go 8 inches. Kind of get a feel for it when you look at it as to whether or not it is big enough. If you feel it's big enough at a total of 6 inches, stop there and start the decreases. If you feel like you need an extra couple more inches, go to 8 inches. I'm going to show you the 2 round repeat that you're going to do. So this is your repeat. You are going to knit 1, then you're going to knit 1, bring the yarn to the front, and purl the next 2. So purl that knitted stitch and the next stitch together. So you're purling 2 together. Now do that again. All right, so we knit 1, take it off. We're going to knit the next stitch, but do not take it off your left hand needle. Bring the yarn to the front, and we're going to purl that same stitch that we just knitted. So that one and the very next one, we're going to purl those together. So one more time, knit 1, knit the next stitch, bring the yarn to the front, and purl that stitch and the next stitch together. So purl 2 together. And you're going to work that all the way around for round 1. I'll come back and show you how to work round 2. All right, once you've made it all the way around for round 1, round 2 is just simply knit every stitch all the way around. So you will repeat rounds 1 and 2 until the height of your hat before the decreases for the crown is approximately 6 to 8 inches. Now that depends once again on whom you will be making the hat for. If you would like to make it smaller, you totally can do so. This is going to be an average, I would say older teen, youth to an adult, a young adult. So you can make this a little smaller if you would like to. Just cast on in multiples of 3 and continue to work the same repeating 2 rounds. Round 1 and round 2 that we repeated. All right, everyone, so go ahead and continue working on the repeating rounds, and I will come back and show you how to do the decreases for the crown of the hat once we get to the specific height that we would like. So I'll be back when I get to that point. Okay, so once you have your hat to the desired height before we go and start decreasing, which, as I said before, 6 to 8 inches total. In fact, I will measure mine now. I am right about 6 inches for mine. Now I'll show you some of that hat pattern. There we are. Okay, so I ended on a row 1, so the pattern row, not the knit, well, round, not the knit round, but the pattern round was the last round I ended on. And I'll tell you why I did that, because it'll make our decreases easier if we're doing them on the second round of our 2-round repeat, because it's just knitting on that round. So if we're doing the decreases on just the knitted round, it will make it easier to be able to keep up with our stitches and our stitch count. So as I start decreasing and the stitches start getting a little bit stretched out and taut, I will be switching over to a longer cable to do magic loop. All right, so how do you do the decreases? Well, I'm going to show you just a basic overview of how to do your decreases. So here I have a list, a beginning list of your rounds, and it's only 2, 4, 6, 8 rounds here. So what we're going to do is we're going to knit 11 stitches, and then we're going to knit 2 together. And we're going to repeat that all the way around. Then we're going to knit in pattern the next round. So basically what we're doing is we're kind of switching it. We're going to be working in pattern as our second round and knitting our decreases for the first round. So at this point, we kind of just flop those 2 rounds. All right, so we're going to go through just the basic beginning, the 11 stitches, and knit 2 together. And then you go 10 and 9 and 8, and we'll get into that in just a second. But to start with, we're going to go 11. So we need to knit 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And then we're going to knit 2 together. So just simply knit 2 together. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. If you would like to place a stitch marker so it's easier to keep up with, you are more than welcome to do so. You should only need, I believe, 6 stitch markers. Maybe 5 because you have one already here. Sorry, I kind of lost track there. I believe it's 6. 6 repeats of 11, knit 11, knit 2 together. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to continue to repeat knitting 11, knit 2 together all the way around, and then we're going to knit in pattern just as we've been doing previously for the following round, at which point I will meet back up with you and we will go over the next step. All right, so I just want to show you what I mean by knit in pattern after you've done your round of knit 11, knit 2 together, and then you're going to knit in pattern. What I mean by that is you're just going to continue the same pattern round that you were doing prior to doing the decreases, which is knit 1 and then knit one, but don't take it off the left needle. Bring your yarn to the front and purl that same stitch with the following stitch. Let me see if I can get my yarn out of the way here. We're going to purl the same stitch we knitted and the following stitch together. So it's the same as what you were doing on your previous section before we started doing the decreases. We're going to just continue that same exact thing. All right, I'll meet back up with you here after I finish this round. Okay, so I just finished knitting in the pattern. So I've done one round of decrease and then one round knitting in pattern. Now we're going to move on to decreasing again. So we're going every other round as a decrease for the moment. At a certain point, we will start decreasing more often. All right, so the next one is to knit 10 and then knit 2 together. So what that is 2 before the end of your little section here if you placed stitch markers. So it'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then knit 2 together. And that will be your repeat for this round. So we'll go ahead and knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we have 2 left before the stitch marker, and we knit those 2 together. So that is your repeat all the way around for this round. And then you will go and knit in pattern, just as we did previously, for the following round. So we're going to go ahead and continue this on. I'm going to do all the way to this point off camera. So we have 10, knit 2 together, then knit in pattern. 9, knit 2 together, then knit in pattern. 8, and knit 2 together, and then knit in pattern. At that point, I will meet back up with you. And at that point, I possibly will be switched over to magic loop and on the longer cable. It'll be the same size needle, just a longer cable. So go ahead and continue the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, and I will meet back up with you at the end of the 6th one from this point. I also want to take a moment and mention that you may have to adjust your stitch markers if you're using them as you're working the rounds, so that way the numbers add up. For, like, for instance, I had to adjust them for this round to make sure that I had the 9, 10, 11 stitches between stitch markers in order to do my next round of decreases. Now, when you're working on it and you're working in the pattern round and you come to the end of the round and you don't have 3 stitches to actually complete a full repeat of knit 1 and then knit 1 and purl 2 together, you're just going to knit those stitches. Just knit those stitches. That's it. And slip your stitch marker as you come to them and continue on. So I just completed this one. I'm now on knit 9 and then knit 2 together. I just wanted to pop in real quick and kind of show you that. Okay, so at this point you should have 9 stitches between your stitch markers, or the equivalent of 9 repeats if you're not using stitch markers. That's perfectly okay. So the next step is every round we're going to decrease. So right now we have 9 stitches. I'm going to knit over 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches and knit 2 together. That will leave me with 8 in between. The following round, I would knit over 2, 4, 6, and then knit 2 together, and that would leave me with 7. Now you're going to continue that same pattern over and over again. We're going to continue with our actual pattern on the pattern rows and knit your knit rows. So you should have ended on a pattern row. So your next row, or round, should I say, your next round is a knit round, then a pattern round and a knit round. And how you're going to work it is, if you get down to, say, because it's multiples of 3, if you get down to a point that here's 3, and then you have 2 stitches, those 2 are going to get knitted together. That'll leave you with 1. The next time around, you may not have enough. So what you're going to do is just knit any extra stitches you have. So what I'm going to do is we'll begin this round with you, which is just a knit round, but it is decrease every round. So I will work through with you a couple of rounds, just the repeat. So we're going to knit to 2 before my stitch marker. Okay, so I've knitted 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches, and now I'm going to knit 2 together. That is my repeat all the way around. Okay, so go ahead and continue the round, knit 7, and then knit 2 together. The next round will be knit 6, and then knit 2 together. Continuing on with your pattern, though. And I'll be back to show you how to do that. Okay, so for your pattern round, you will continue in pattern. So we're going to knit 1 without taking off our left needle, bring the yarn to the front and purl that stitch and the next stitch together. That is your first 3 stitches. We need to do that one more time. So knit 1, without taking it off, bring your yarn to the front and purl the next 2 together, or that stitch and the next stitch together. And now we have 2 stitches that remain. You're going to knit those 2 together. That is your repeat for this round. So the pattern stitches repeat twice and then knit 2 together. Knit 1, knit, bring it to the front and purl it and the next stitch. Do it again, knit 1, knit, bring to the front, purl that stitch and the next stitch together, and then knit 2 together. Slip in your stitch markers as you come to them. Knit 1, knit, bring it to the front, purl that stitch and the next stitch together. Knit 1, knit, bring the yarn to the front, knit and purl and that stitch and the next stitch together. And then knit the last 2 stitches together. And you're going to continue that same repeat 3 more times all the way around. I'll meet up with you at the end and we'll go over the next round together. All right, we're back to a knit round. So now we're going to knit to the 2 stitches before our stitch marker, which is a total of 5 stitches. So knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then knit the last 2 together. That is your repeat all the way around for this round. I'll meet back up with you once I've reached the end. All right, we're back to a pattern round. We're going to work our pattern. So knit 1, knit, pull to the front, and purl that stitch and the next stitch together. And now we have 3 stitches left. So knit 1, knit 2 together. Slip your stitch marker. That's the repeat for this round. Knit 1, knit, bring your yarn to the front, purl that stitch and the next stitch together, keeping your pattern going. Knit 1 and then knit 2 together. We'll do that again. Knit 1, knit, bring your yarn to the front, purl that stitch and the next stitch together. Knit 1, knit 2 together. Go ahead and continue that repeat to the end of the round, and I will meet up with you for the next round. All right, we're back to a knit round. So you're going to knit 1, 2, 3, and then knit 2 together. And that is your repeat. Knit 1, 2, 3, and knit 2 together. Go ahead and continue on around, and I will meet up with you for the next round. All right, this is our last and final round. We are going to create a knitted round. So we have knit 1, 2, and knit 2 together. That's going to leave you with 3 stitches between your stitch markers. So that's 3, and then knit 1, 2, knit 2 together, and that's 3 more. And you're going to continue that around. We'll do this real quick together. 1, 2, knit 2 together. I'm going to pop that stitch marker off since this is our last round. Knit 1, 2, knit 2 together. Knit 1, 2, knit 2 together. Knit 1, 2, and knit 2 together. All right, that is it for this part of it. Let me get these needles situated here. So you're going to want to cut a tail off that's long enough to sew in all the top of the stitches here, all the top stitches. So, 6 to 8 inches should be sufficient enough to do so. Just going to cut away from my working ball of yarn. Grab my darning needle. Now, when I take these stitches off, I take them off knitwise, which means I act like my darning needle is my right-hand needle, and I bring the stitch off the left needle knitwise, just like that. Pop that off, and that off. Now, if you want to make this hat larger, you would carry on with the pattern. If you want to make it bigger around, you would add more stitches in multiples of 3. If you want to make it smaller, you would decrease by multiples of 3. And everything else is done basically the same. You're going to continue the 2-round repeat after you get the brim done, which was a 2x1 ribbing. And then you break it down into sections to do your decreases at the top. I'm going to put that through the top, turn the hat inside out. so that way I can sew the top of the hat closed. You can add a pom-pom if you wish. That is entirely up to you. This is just meant to be a gender neutral for anywhere from, child to adult. It depends on what size you end up making it, how many stitches you end up casting on. That is completely up to you. If you follow along with me, you will end up with a approximately a large child, youth, gender neutral hat. Let's see here. Let me get some measurements. From the very tippy top to the bottom, I have a total of 7 3/4 inches. And if I was to do the circumference, just laying it flat, not stretching it out, just laying it flat, I have 15 3/4. If I stretch it out, on the other hand, this hat's got lots of stretch. All the way stretched out, I am at 25.5 inches. So there's plenty of room to stretch. All right, so that is the hat. You're just going to sew in your ends, and yeah. I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you find a use for this fairly simple 2-round repeat hat. It gives it some nice texture, and it's not too girly. Let's look at the top of this hat. So here's the top of the hat. Got a little bit of the spiral there, which is normal for when you're decreasing like that. You get a little bit of a spiral going on, but the pattern for the most part works its way all the way up into the very top of the hat. All right, everyone. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.